Well, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're coming in from us to watch us. Welcome on into the Cardinal Companion video page. We're football people. We are football people here. We'll dabble in baseball, we'll dabble in basketball, but we are football people. What did we tell you in yesterday's show? We said Louisville's hired a general manager. Well, they hired one. The big dog, Vince Marrow, former tight ends coach at the University of Kentucky, I believe he was player ops also at UK. He's going to come on to UofL to be your new general manager. I cannot explain to you guys how excited I am for this. Genuinely can't. It's hard to have words for this situation. Vince Marrow, and again, I'm not a huge fan of, saying nice things about UK. What I will say, though, is Vince Marrow is one of the few very bright spots about that Mark Stoops coaching staff. Vince is, very well connected into the player representation and agency circles that I've kind of delved in. Works very well with collectives, and he is very well connected. He works a lot in the individual talent development scene as well, which is something you're starting to see become very big on high school kids. He's very well connected in those areas, and and they've done well on the recruiting trail. And I don't mean this as a shot across the bow at Kentucky or to poo poo on Kentucky, but it's not exactly like Kentucky has the money to do well on the recruiting trail. They don't get a lot of NIL money, and they've done more with less NIL money. And that's one thing I commend them for. Everyone thinks they're paying guys left, right, and center in football, and that's not the truth of the situation. They might be in basketball, but I don't know what they're doing in basketball, and I don't really care what they're doing in basketball. But in football, there have been consistent money issues since Nils come online, and they've continued to do more with less. And don't get me wrong, especially for Vince, the three letters on that patch, that SEC, that makes up a lot of your recruiting. That makes up a lot of the money. I don't know very many 17-year-old kids that wouldn't jump at the opportunity to go to any SEC school, even if a Kentucky or Vanderbilt is the only one offering them. They're still going to jump at it because they got those three letters, that SEC, baby, and that's all that matters. But for UofL, enough about the slapdicks. For UofL specifically, this is in the right direction. We came on here yesterday. I personally said I would like to see someone outside of the program, and this has always been the one. I know there's always been rumors about this, and I've even been caught up in a few of those controversies. I believe back in this past December, my exact words were, "It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when." And that win time is here. Anyone remotely close to the program will tell you how great of a relationship Coach Jeff Brom, and Vince have. Vince has been wanting to get out of Kentucky for a little while now, and he wants to stay. He wanted to get out of Kentucky, but he likes living in Kentucky, if that makes sense. He likes being in the general area. He's friends with Jeff. This is it's the perfect match. And I think it's a good one. If you're in what I think UofL is going to do with this. So there's a couple different archetypes of GMs right now that we're seeing in college football. And we're seeing the type of GM that solely deals with money and recruiting. And I think that's what this is. And I love it. And at the same time, if you want to retain Greg Brom as your player ops, I think that's a great deal. You have Greg Brom that's been established, that knows these kids really well, that was here when we recruited these kids. And then you're going to have Vince Marrow also working on your actual day-to-day. It's a great combo. And then, if you want to really throw it all full circle, in this recruiting giant that's being built, and I can't believe I'm going to say that, but there is a recruiting giant being built at University of Louisville. All these people now are university employees in the span of a week. Pete Nocta, again, an amazing recruiter. It's so undervalued in college football. Vince Marrow is now a University of Louisville employee that will be recruiting football players for the University of Louisville. Dan Furman is now a University of Louisville employee that will be assisting in recruiting players to the University of Louisville. You're putting together a three-headed giant there. And, things are gonna change around here, man. I can't speak it enough. We've been saying it into existence. Hey, this athletic season was great, but it's only going to get better. This is getting better. This is what it is. And this is, and no disrespect to the guys that have been doing the recruiting beforehand, before Vince is going to come in. No disrespect at all meant, but you can never get good enough. Especially, right now, you look at Louisville in the recruiting world. Who are we always primarily recruiting against? We're always going against Miami, Florida State, Kentucky, and sometimes Clemson. That's kind of where we've been living at. And you gotta go get up to their level. You have to. We see the resources that Miami throws at recruiting. I mean, Miami, I know everyone says, oh, it's money. Oh, it's money. It's not only money. They have one of the best recruiting staffs in the country. Now, talent development, that's another side of the house, but talent acquisition, they're some of the best in the country alongside Ohio State. Florida State, they have good acquisition. It's kind of been slipping recently, especially with the problems down in Tally. Clemson, they never stop being good. They never have. They find undervalued, Dabo and his staff, they find undervalued kids in the rough every single day. And they take these 3 stars and they turn them into first round draft picks. And that's what Clemson does. And they're very good at it. And they love God. And then, Kentucky, that's the don't. You've been beating them in recruiting now for a solid year plus. There's no real recruitments you've lost out on against them that are major, in my opinion. For Louisville specifically, this is really going to open up your avenues in recruiting in the state of Ohio and Michigan, which is something that, Jeff traditionally has done, especially at Purdue. Purdue and Western, he did it very well. Well, not well, but he did it a lot, where he was going into Indiana, he was going into Ohio, Michigan, pulling guys out of there, hire 3-star guys. This is going to open up those avenues even more for Louisville. It wouldn't surprise me if now, you see Louisville really starting to compete against like a Michigan or Michigan States here and there. Because that's been a school that, or 2 schools that Kentucky's been primarily recruiting against for quite a while now. So yeah, this is a great time, man. This is a great hire. This is a great hire. I can't say it enough. I'm so excited. I'm sorry I was not present very much on Twitter today when it happened. Again, I don't like talking about it a lot. I live 8 hours ahead of you guys. All right, so when I go to bed at 9:30 at night, it's 2:30 in the afternoon for y'all, I believe. And I love it. I wake up in the morning, 5 a.m. my time, from a text from my good friend Brad. And it just says, oh boy, you're going to want to do a space when you wake up. And I was like, we're not doing a space. We'll do this. This is a little more sensible. I believe Brad did a great space tonight. So yeah, that's amazing. But yeah, fun. I mean, this is the type of thing you want to do. I know a short little video. Want to keep it that way. But yeah, so the big dog is finally in Louisville. It's been often prophesized, finally realized. This is a great move from UofL. Cannot stress it enough. Great move. You're consolidating your nil. You are really structuring to build a giant in recruiting. Clip it, mark my words. Louisville will be a giant in recruiting. You will see consistent top 25 high school classes. But that's all we got. Stay locked into the page. Stay tapped in. Like, share, subscribe. Please, all that stuff. It helps the page so much. Later on this week, we got some more College World Series content coming your way, really previewing the Oregon State series and everyone on our side of the bracket. And then we'll have another house supplement video coming out fairly soon. But thank you guys so much. Please share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And, have a great day. And it is a new day for the University of Louisville. Thanks, guys. Catch y'all later.